in the chat, but it is not going to be as one-sided as that result might make it seem here, folks. Space Station on one side, Complexity on the other. Let's play some Rocket League.
We get started with the third match of the day. Space Station taking on Complexity. Two roster moves. We'll see which one pans out better for the other. Game one, brought to you by Progressive. About to get underway. Frosty and Kofer, the new additions on each squad here, Hercules.
Oh yeah, this is another really exciting matchup with a couple more roster moves. We get to see how people compete under pressure on, you know, the main stage, under the lights of the field here, and of course now in a best-of-7 setting, the longest they've had to endure this weekend so far. But I mean, like you said, and everybody has said, Jorby, Complexity lost one of the greatest players in North America that this roster's ever seen. But for them, I mean, they don't look too different off the rip.
I mean, Frosty is probably one of the best players you could have picked up to replace RLCS. CRR and Diaz. Diaz more and more is kind of taking the forefront of this roster. So Complexity, not a roster to be slept on at all. CRR actually has a Frosty pre-jump, but Reveal gets a nice push down the field. For Space Station, I mean, the most impressive thing for Kofer is where he's sitting at the top of stat lines. Across the board, he was last split second in goals per game. He was #1 in shot percentage in North America, and also pretty high up on that list when it comes to shots per game. So he's an integral part of the offense, and that just helps Scribbles and company do that much more as they pick up the first goal.
I mean, it's just high shooting percentages all the way around for this team, right? The fact that the ball even got into that half so quickly, great shout for SSG, but Scrib getting the double off the back, putting his foot down, letting Complexity know this is not a free game whatsoever. They are still themselves a mechanical. And Kofer with a shot of his own off that backboard. CRR, a little bit of a better save. Race to this ball, gets beat out by Reveal. Takes his time. Kofer behind him to try and follow, but Scrib's the one to go up next. It was the lurk down and the patience from Kofer that gives SSG their second goal.
Scribbles does a great job. Look at him get the reset and fly past that first defender, and then the drop down. Easy does it for Kofer there. Scribbles just doing so much at the start of this game. That's exactly how Space Station want to start it. Scribbles probably more of a backseater for Space Station when Frosty was on this team. But with Frosty gone, Frosty a notorious cutter of the rotation when he was on this Space Station team. CRR ended up letting go of the ball there. Now, might be able to see a little bit more of Scribbles' action with Kofer, not just on the ball, but also loving those demos. He averaged 3 demos a game last split, which was best for first in North America. So there's lots of things to like about that Space Station roster for sure.
2 minutes into this one, a couple resets forward. It's pretty much just been a nice attempt of shots towards this net for SSG. They've had a lot of control in this one of the fewer moments that Complexity's been able to break out. Diaz tried to slow it off, but Reveal better read off this. CRR past 1, too slow. Those Scribbles up to Reveal. Reveal enough to make the double, but not on target. Unfortunate, but good patience. And Space Station, I mean, they just honestly look like the more cohesive and cleaner team.
Gotten those clean chances. It just comes off of Scribbles playing a really great solo effort on that first goal that he had with good control and pace. And then that second one, again, utilizing his mechanics off the backboard. He's been the X factor in game #1 by and large for Space Station. Now, all Space Station have to do is lock them down. Diaz faking the touch, couldn't really do much more. Maybe a chance for CRR. He's got lead on the ball. Wins the next 50, beats Scrib on it. That one has to be on target, but denied by Reveal. A pot shot that has no chance of going in. Scrib had no boost. Diaz trying to shake him off the ball. Frosty underneath, but it rolls up the wall and keeps safety for Space Station. A desperate try there from Complexity to find a goal, and they came away empty.
That is some top 4 defense. Reveal and Scribbles both were in that top 4 for the end of the qualifiers here. And now, on the flip side, try to take another shot off this one, but Space Station defensively are one of the better teams right now across North America, and it is showing for good reason. Minute 23 on the clock though. Reveal just trying to dead ball this one. Everybody from Complexity has thrown themselves at this ball and finally will force themselves through Frosty to put Complexity out onto the board.
You know, we mentioned the stats of Space Station and Kofor, what he's bringing to this team. But Frosty also nears the top in a lot of those same categories. Frosty in that goals per game, clicked it up, I believe he was like top 5 at the very least. Actually, not top 5 in the goals per game, but up there in the assists per game shot percentage. He took more shots than anybody else per game last split. That makes sense. You watch Frosty play, he loves to be on the ball. He loves to be making plays with his mechanics. He wants to be the guy. That's what he tried to be on Space Station a lot of times. I think for Frosty, his growth on this team has to be a little more team-oriented and a little more disciplined in rotation. And if he can find that, I think he'll find CRR and Diaz extremely valuable teammates. Complexity have been able to hang on to the ball this last minute. It's just actually getting this on frame will be the difficult part. CRR there, that will give you a little bit of consistency. Diaz dives back with no boost. Hanging up high, gets the demo. Complexity though, could not find a way in. Frosty shot off and away. Space Station hanging on to the lead.
And got 18 seconds to find something here, and here comes Reveal just bodying this ball to keep it out from going towards his net. A good clear here gives a little bit of room, but it's immediately pinballed back. Scribbles taking his time. 4 seconds on the clock here in the air. Pass over to CRR, enough to work with towards the backboard. Can he sneak it in? We'll see. Frosty up, takes his time, has the flick, doesn't get to use it. Reveal will kill it, and Space Station will win 2-1.
Very good look from Scribbles and Space Station here early on. Scribbles helps get those 2 early goals, and then
force somebody to stay where they aren't happy. But like you made mention to, Frosty getting brought in, I think has a lot of untapped potential, but a lot of it is kind of like, all right, you almost have like a new bull, right? Very uncontrolled, very undisciplined, incredible, but can you get him to play your way? Because Complexity is one of the more like, we have a plan and stick to it kind of teams, where Frosty was very much used to, hey, we're almost in a free-for-all mindset, and it just sort of works sometimes.
now, I thought Complexity second half of that game looked a lot better, and they might have an opening here. CRR protect that ball. Space Station almost found a way through them there. Good job from CRR. A bit of a bump. Reveal's having trouble getting back, but Complexity are having trouble actually getting this ball out of their own half. Frosty with a nice catch, misses the flick. That's not good because Reveal's got the shot, and not a good shot either. Easy for CRR to make the save. Complexity get another 50, give himself some space in the breakout. Frosty bounced back to himself, gave him a chance. Diaz and CRR lined up here. CRR starts. Diaz has to wait for the touch though. Frosty coming across actually gives Diaz a chance. It's looking solid from Complexity. And more we're seeing as the minutes go on. Maybe not missing too much. Frosty is bringing that stability as well on that offense, if you will. Still, they get pushed back here by Space Station.
I saw Kofor being a little cheeky too. They're sending him up and just letting him kind of mess around with the last lines of defense. And if Complexity is going to remain on low boost for long, extended periods of time, that might be a plan that turns out successful. But for now, Space Station continue to stay on defense. Shot opportunity goes in. You saw the pass the second it was caught in the air there by CRR. He had all the time to work with once he got around and reset. Crazy power to make that play.
Well, Reveal is heading up. He saw the touch from CRR. Gave him the respect for it, but he's first on the ball there. Everybody else was on the opposite side, rotating back. That was after a long sequence where Complexity were happy to go back to their half. Boy, Kofor, if only. They were happy to go back to their half, try to fight for possession again, and they kept getting it. Space Station are now the ones having that trouble actually commanding the ball here on offense. Frosty with a little bit of pace. Kofor chasing him down. CRR went for the quick hit. Wasn't the greatest touch. Scrib gets right on top of it. And Frosty following up his own touch. Diaz in the area as well, and decides to let Space Station give up the ball and give CRR a free angle.
Going out in the corner, Scribbles took his challenge on it, just kind of pinballed it around, but not really realizing his teammates are on extremely low boost. I don't think that's something you'd communicate that quickly, so possession goes back in favor of Complexity, although almost immediately gets lost. But of course, having the resource advantage allows Complexity to break into that half there. They are going to try and take a shot. CRR floats this one out to Diaz. Diaz shot on target. Scribbles in the tank, enough to send it out. Second shot still headed towards that net. They're not going to stop trying here, but that top 4 defense of SSG, it still continues to reign tried and true.
High touch, but nobody can follow. Kofer just hoping for that boost spawn for reveal as he drove over it. Space Station managing for now. Kofer gives him a huge angle out, but look at CRR steal. Forces reveal to take the challenge. Scrib also midair, and that was through a smoke screen. Ball falls right back down to him. Another pot shot. Kofer takes that away. 1 second, it looks like Space Station are going to break out, and the next, CRR's creating a play out of nothing. Now Space Station, Kofer trying to give it back to Scrib, but Scrib landed in the corner. No passing play, no offense for Space Station as Frosty chucks it downfield. And Complexity starting to lose that composure on offense as Space Station trying to get possession of this one, and a nice little back touch there from Kofer. Give Reveal a chance at it. Love the way Space Station are seeing that rotation, but they still can't get the ball away from Complexity. Off camera, CRR's getting demos. Diaz steals the ball away. Everyone getting bunched up, but Kofer gets another solid touch. There's been several here, Hercules, where Kofer stops the bleeding quickly enough to help the rest of his team get boosted up and get back on offense. Someone's got to touch the ball here.
Yeah, there's no follow-up that's coming in quick enough for this to turn into an actual play. It's like you said, it's more like you're doing something to stop the bleeding, but are you actually healing your wound? And right now the answer is no. Kofer low boost sends this down, maybe, and yes, the answer is yes. It's not a maybe. Space Station have tied up the game. 34 seconds into this.
Yeah, Kofer got vertical. He started, that ball didn't have a lot of height on it. Boost straight up into it. It doesn't get away from him. It's a great touch to follow up on it. You saw Diaz. He's going up. He doesn't have any boost. And when you're trying to go up with no momentum, you got no boost, good luck winning that 50. Kofer showing his value, and Diaz unfortunately couldn't create any there as Space Station slowly turned the table on Complexity in this game. Frosty got bumped out of the way. Scrib could buy time. Kofer needed it. He was on the opposite side of the midfield. Diaz, though, comes down with it. CRR right with him in stride, picking up every single pad, trying to find a bumper, a demo, or anything. But now Frosty's left to defend against Kofer. No boost. An easy stop. Maybe headed to OT unless Scrib can create a little bit of magic. 50 goes right down to Frosty. Frosty wants to play ball. Nope, they do not. Scrib decides we're going overtime.
They'll play ball, but they'll play ball in a much more high-pressure situation. One goal ends it all right here. Frosty over to Diaz. He pops this one up. CRR tried to get the beat on reveal, but he won't. Instead, it drops down almost to Kofer, but Diaz caught a catch-out. Oh, and the demo! That nasty, but CRR, he played as far back third as he possibly could, and that is a corrective mistake on Complexity's defense that I'm loving to see, because sometimes they get caught out in the worst possible time.
As pass, reveal somehow comes away with the save. Frosty tries to use the mech. CRR was hoping for a different 50, recorrects himself. That's a great adjustment from CRR. Steals the boost, drop off to Diaz. He gets bumped out of the way. Just when you think, again, Complexity, they're holding on to the midfield. Diaz opens the case, but Frosty approaches the play too quickly, and he ends up taking himself out of the equation. Reveal going downfield, but there's no ball. Scrib loses to Diaz. Reveal turns quickly into it. Diaz flips it away from him, and the shot's too weak. Scrib comes up with an easy save. Diaz underneath back to CRR. Wins the touch, but Frosty, there's too much in front of him to take the risk. He would have ran into Scrib, and who knows what would have happened. Space Station gets the clear.
Oh my gosh, the amount of pressure that is just building between the two of these teams too, Jorby. It's just high, and it's intensified with every second. Scrib around 1 CRR to slow it down, and at all points in time, both of these teams usually have 2 players with resources, and 1 person is nearing 10 or below. That one dangerously across the net here. 1 up. Kofer's gonna try, but CRR has the time and the space. Dribbles is up next. Nope, he's gonna get past 1. Reveal's gonna send it out. Diaz sees the opportunity, and it's in.
This all started with Frosty off this replay right before it. Frosty runs right past the entire space station rotation, steals the boost and the ball, drops the ball off to a fully boosted CRR.
Teams out there, as far as, again, you got a game plan, you stick to it. There is no veering off and having, you know, the Frosty show. This is complexity, and to see Frosty almost maturing in a way a little bit on this team is really showing, hey, there is a world where complexity, you know, holds their top 4 contention because of what Frosty is bringing to the table now.
CRR's touch quality today has been excellent, and definitely the biggest factor for me for complexity. Plays where you thought Space Station were gonna break out, and CRR just stops it dead in its tracks with a perfect control and touch. That's where CRR at his best, man. He's just so deadly like that. And now he's got a complement of Diaz and Frosty with him to help take advantage of that as CRR. Look at that. Perfect touch to follow it up. You couldn't ask for much better in a tight spot, sitting on the near wall, and you catch it like that and get the follow-up 50. That's stability.
It's going off the backboard. A little scrimmed redirect on back, straight into the hands of SSG though. Scribbles sends it to Reveal. Minute into this one, we are scoreless. Demos on the back ends, attempted passes towards an open net. It's a little bit of an awkward shot just because complexity was completely low on boost in that moment, and SSG recognized it. They just hit the ball upfield and are continuing to try and play this one touch at a time. The script gets sent down into the corner once again. Complexity playing a very patient, composed defensive line.
Diaz takes the space. Ooh, not the greatest touch, follow-up touch though. Bounces away from him. Good for him. He's got some backup high on the back wall. Frosty actually gets a follow-up 50 there as well. Complexity get to set it up. Diaz forces Kofer to absolutely smash that ball, and he does, but still free. Oh, Diaz, he cut in. That ball had a little too much height on it. His initial position, I thought he's going straight up for it. They got a shot, but he was just a little in on the angle. Frosty picks up a demo. Diaz holding the ball. CRR playing the tight angle, but no 50 comes his way, and Space Station break back out.
Man, playing a patient game. Reveal has to call himself off of that one there. There could have been a follow-up, but unfortunately for SSG, they had both committed to that initial shot. Now Complexity has all 3 lined up, ready to go. Kofer gonna try and follow up his first touch here. Does get a small angle. We've seen him try to do it twice. He just hasn't quite made connect on it. But I see the vision. Unfortunately for you, Diaz's vision is 20/20, and he was lasering that in from midfield.
This one breaks through. Reveal. He sees Diaz about to get bumped, and Diaz does get chipped a little bit. That baits Reveal into turning into that ball because he thinks, okay, Diaz, he's gonna spin out. But really, Diaz was just put into position, and he slips right through Reveal. That's an unfortunate one if you're Reveal, because you were initially in position, and you think Diaz is gonna get bumped, you get burned.
And now you just gotta try and get back into it too if you're SSG. Of course, they had a lot of control and stability in that game number 1, but as time goes on, they're losing it to complexity. Like we've said, everybody was kind of curious, like, does Frosty slot in the same way that Raise Bowl did? And for now, I think he got caught up to speed fairly quickly here. CRR gonna try and solo this one around 1. Frosty to follow up to 2. It centers out into the hands of Scribbles, and here comes the SSG transition out, and it's denied by Diaz.
Speaking of Scribbles, outside of those first 2 goals, where has this Space Station offense been? Complexity have completely locked them down. Haven't seen many Space Station opportunities since that first game. Now Reveal. Trying to keep this ball away. Kofer trying to give him some space with a demo as well. Diaz overshoots his position, takes the ball away, gives Frosty a chance at it, but he gave it up. Nobody's ready though. Reveal is still covering. Scrib was also not positioned for that touch. Missed, might have given Reveal the shot, denied by CRR with no boost left. Kofer still has a chance though, avoids the bump. Frosty sitting on the near post, gets the touch. Space Station, this is the most offense they've had in about, what, 9 minutes? And still finding the frame is difficult as they come around the corner. And CRR says, come and screw this ball away from me. As Scribbles, he's got the screwdriver. Unfortunately, couldn't hold it in hand.
Yeah, this is going to try and take a little bit of a shot here. Kofer in net, keeps it out. And I got to commend Complexity defensively. Like, even when SSG is able to break in right now, high and low ground are both covered and someone's out. A Complexity player is already there, ready to go. Take that ball, transition out, and of course, it's going to be Frosty to be the one to do that play. The drop down, the catch, and his time, there's no stopping him. He looked so comfortable on this team.
That was like a first killer light play right there. He's got the momentum, he's got the defense on the run, and he brings that ball down, some nice soft touches to give himself one good powerful shot because he still needs it. He can't rush it. Then he slows it down, takes his time, it was perfect to the top shelf. Complexity, as the game has gone on, as the match has gone on, have taken more and more of the pie. And Space Station are getting hungrier and hungrier. Complexity looking great with Frosty on this team. They really don't look like they've lost much of a step after the Bulls exit and take the lead in the series.
Nope, it was definitely the right roster move. And of course, yes, it was unintentional, but you couldn't have found somebody better to come.
There's been some good plays from Space Station. They were able to put some pressure on at the end of the last game. Now they got to capitalize on it.
Well, we're going to see if they can do that here, or does Complexity work their way towards a match point? They head on in to this half here, past the DS. Here are to try and clean up off the backboard. No double in sight for them, but a quick rotation and a pass over to Frosty. Gets past one, maybe past Reveal. Diaz almost had the time and space, but not the boost.
Diaz gets bumped off that corner boost. A good 50 for Kofer to handle. Again, right there. The touch from Diaz gives CRR a chance. Frosty gets the 50, and Complexity cleared away. Not just forcing the 50 for the sake of it, trying to get that ball back into free space. That shows Diaz's growth as well as a player. Complexity growing quite well. Frosty trying for the bump. He had to really stretch for that one. Scribble avoid him easily.
You gotta be careful on those ones too. Sometimes if you go for it, especially on no boost, you're just kind of throwing yourself out there and putting a lot more pressure on your teammates to perform on the back end. But thankfully for him, he's got two very strong teammates to hold down the fort. Kofer no boost means Frosty's touch is gonna keep this in favor of Complexity. CRR continues the pattern, but midline slightly secured down by Scribbles himself, but SSG, even when they have the ball, it's not true, control. It's just kind of here and there touches. Yes, the ball is in the blue half, but nobody's taking a real shot.
Uh-oh.
This is the better one.
This one works out. Is Scribbles getting another goal for Space Station. CRR has to avoid a bump. That makes his approach to the ball not great. And Scribbles uses CRR's card to his advantage and helps put a little juice on that shot. Diaz didn't think he was slow coming back, but that ball made him feel slow for sure. And you'll take it if you're Space Station.
Well, you might take one of these two, a double down. No angle on it, just a bit high out. And better clear. Frosty waited patiently for that boost to come out. I got a little nervous for him, but you know what? Stay confident. Do your thing. 3 minutes left on the clock here and a 1-goal lead for SSG. This one bounces around from their half. Frosty's going to try and center it for a teammate, but CRR's touch keeps it out. And SSG looking a lot better, more so like they did in game number 1 as far as defense is concerned, although Complexity is getting still roughly the same number of shots. They're not they're not as intense.
Yeah, Frosty, look where you're going, buddy. Maybe Diaz was like, take it. I want the boost so you can take the ball. Maybe that's what the comms were, but whoa, CRR! Was there even a single orange player in his path? All right, this one get through. He lets it bounce, takes it to the backboard. And he just slips through the entire team. Reveal's got no boost. One player's getting bumped out of the way. And CRR with a little bit of help, finding the gap. Complexity tied up.
1-1, half the game left to go. We're gonna see if that changes here. Frosty already up, Reveal got a beat. And SSG back on even playing ground against this Complexity squad that's slowly refiguring them out. SSG trying to get a catch out. They won't hear CRR quick cut on that ball there. Still not enough for a pretty decent shot on net. Instead, it's a bit clear out from Scribbles.
Off the ceiling. You see Diaz, he just stopped. He's like, I'm not even gonna chase that. We'll let Kofer play it. We'll try again. And then my teammate gets demoed, is what Kofer's thinking. Okay, everything's going well. Pass over to Scrib. Kind of forced Frosty off his path. I was on Frosty cam for that. I don't know what the backside of the net looked like. I expected somewhat of a different touch there. Can't shake Complexity's defense enough. And it took a slight slip up, which was caused by Space Station trying to bump CRR. And Diaz still coming back. Scrib got a really solid shot. Again, outside of those happenstance moments, Space Station's offense has not been enough. Kofer finally finds an opening and he's denied. He couldn't get any height on the shot and it made it easy for the save. CRR's just gonna drop the ball. It does allow Space Station to hold on to it. Reveal deletes Diaz. Scrib hoping to find Reveal, but he just gave Frosty a chance to buy his team some time. Buy it he will. CRR's to half flip back into position. Opening maybe. Kofer not a ton of boost. He picked up every pad as he tried to leave the ground supersonic. As Space Station broken. Offensive opportunities are coming away empty-handed, but they're still finding touches. No danger for CRR as he bangs it off the post and tries to find a way out. Kofer turns off the cam, misses Diaz, and Reveal can't get anything going.
Right now, SSG really got to get it together on this one because Complexity's defense is looking a lot more like it did in the last 2 games here. 30 seconds left on the clock. Pass over to Frosty. Enough boost and power to make it on target there, but Scribbles' touch has more. He tried hard to make this one. Reveal's going to go for the double, but 2 up on it means that ball is staying out. 14 on the clock. CRR breaks his team out of their half. The setter to no one goes back in favor. The triple demo on the back end gives Scribbles enough time to try and bob and weave, but he won't. It's Frosty keeping Complexity in this. They're gonna try to go for the 0 second, and it's still up in the air. Diaz next, he tries to center it. Nobody's there, and Reveal will kill it. Overtime for a golden goal.
The one-time Space Station had the opportunity at the net. CRR, they got him off his mark, and Space Station missed the follow-up touch to actually capitalize on that pressure. Now it's OT, and Frosty has Reveal under pressure, comes down with the save. Triple double doesn't matter too much when the ball's starting from your half, because you just put the whole defense on their side of the field. You don't see a whole team elimination that often. But now at the start of OT, Frosty tries the delayed flip forward, a little uncomfortable as 2 from Space Station felt like they needed to go. They've recovered. Kofer landing back. Interesting progression towards the ball, but he makes his way back to it. Space Station keep getting stuck. He has to use all his boost here.
Right down, SSG look like they're almost able to get out of their half. They do here, and then immediately get sent back running. Kofer's in a race. The back pass to the back wall might actually be dangerous as Diaz is over 1 demoed off for his efforts. And 1 minute into this OT, SSG are putting up their fight.
It's a chance for Space Station to stabilize. Kofer with a full tank. Had the 50 from Reveal, but too long to try to get that lined up on his nose. Scrib gets a good bounce, fakes it. But nobody was in the area. Reveal was behind Diaz with no boost. Didn't like it. Couldn't go. Kofer forces the 50. But again, you're having to contend with that. CRR moves the ball around, gets a bump on top of it. Frosty sees the space, takes it, reset. Uncomfortable for Complexity. An opening! Diaz gets closed on. Kofer found the save. Frosty just trying to win the touch. Says no to the Rule 1 on the wall, and it's bombed downfield. Space Station want a little bit of space, want a little bit of relief, but Complexity, they don't want to give it at all.
Absolutely not. They just want to turn this into a high-pressure cooker, and Space Station is stressing on win. That bomb is going to go off. Diaz into the corner up next. Challenge on Reveal is successful. Kofer slow, 2-on-1. Scribbles is just desperately trying to get a clear out, but instead, SSG keep playing the corner and losing control of this ball. Diaz, past one. Can he double around? Another, he does, but this one has to waterfall in. CRR, no chance. It's denied off Kofer's car, but that's not gonna stop them here. Diaz to the ground, on target in the corner, but every time has been denied.
That was such a good shot from Diaz. This space station won't let him in on that one either. CRR, no chance at a follow-up. Reveal with no boost. Frosty holding the ball. Diaz is getting harassed by Reveal on the back end. And he's got a full tank of boost. Diaz gets to get the catch as well. So all that harassment didn't matter. As Frosty, gotta be careful. No problem. CRR's there to help you out, but now you're in some trouble as Scrib had to avoid a demo. And that avoidance just didn't let him get the controlling touch he wanted. Frosty had to dive back. Diaz, a bit uncomfortable there. CRR only about 30 in the tank, hoping Frosty can find a touch. Diaz wants to go downfield. CRR takes it himself. Diaz waiting for a 50, but he'll never get one as Reveal takes it again, and Space Station trying to reload. Musty, a little weak, but Kofer add a little strength, and Frosty takes the ball away.
He's still going, no Musty of his own. Instead, it's just off the sidewall, but no boost means no power to center it back. And Diaz tried to send it towards that net, but everything has been wide. The desperation to try and put anything on target is being clearly shown by Complexity right now. Diaz, another corner play here, sent off by Kofer. Because Space Station's doing a much better job of winning these challenges in these corners here. CRR knows Diaz was there, took the shot for himself anyway, and Scribbles is the one to take it off.
Space Station, that's a good touch from Kofer, and a great response from Complexity to take him out of the play. Otherwise, Kofer had an angle out, maybe could have set something up for Space Station. CRR, it's a heavy touch. He goes for the bump instead. Space Station finding ways to get behind the ball. Still, Frosty could be the X factor as Reveal pops it up hard to Kofer. Kofer off the bar, no goal.
You just gotta sit there and go, why? How does this keep happening to them? But you can't. You don't have the top. 30 seconds away from a full OT of regulation is insane. And you know whoever takes this one is going to be on a high. Frosty down to CRR, back over to Frosty. The crossbar pinball around. Complexity gets her match point.
A little slip, a little slap. And no problem for Complexity on the give and go at the top of the box. Was anyone dominant in that game? And it was Complexity. Complexity had the better pressure. Because sure, Space Station able to hold the ball sometimes, but you're not able to starve out Complexity. How many times we see Space Station starved on defense, having to make diving stops, or having to position in an awkward spot and hope that ball gets placed near you so you can make a save because you're simply working on limited boost. The Complexity have played a much better game, and their discipline has helped them get to this point. Only one chance that Space Station has had that I'd say Complexity truly got away with, the Kofer crossbar. Another demo for Complexity on the backside means no follow-up touch off of Reveal.
Right now, SSG, they're going to try a new approach to it, and I think that that's just sending someone up a little bit further forward than you would in most play scenarios. But unfortunately for them, Complexity is just a bit faster. Look at these challenges on them. Kofer's trying to air dribble it out, and as soon as he gets over one, there's already a second player waiting for him as he's coming on down. So for Complexity, composure is key, and it is working out beautifully for this team. It's keeping them in the forefront of this game, number 5. This first minute of gameplay really still feels like it is just as much in control of Complexity as it was in the past.
You can see Space Station, the discomfort on defense. Kofer going back when a teammate was there on the backboard earlier. Ended up double committing using most of his boost when he was the only player with boost on that progression. Still Space Station have come away from it. Can you get a 50 though? Diaz avoids it easily. Frosty, settle down. Diaz has the ball. Almost had it. Frosty. There's that trigger happy finger I knew was in there. It was gonna come out eventually.
Hey, that's like the learning curve of this though, right? So eventually you're gonna get there, but old habits die hard.
Yeah, he wants to go, go, go. You gotta respect it. Complexity. Tons of respect for each other on the pitch. Frosty gonna let Kofor carry that out. He knows Kofor can't go very far with the ball that low, so he lets it go. Now Diaz off the ceiling, passing play, was ready for it. Space Station, do they get the breaks? CRR has to wait, someone's going to headhunt. He wants a demo as well. Kofor, despite they said a harry of missiles, and not a single one landed the mark, and CRR wants to return fire. Complexity won't get a chance though. Kofor with a good catch. A little bit of harassment. Diaz avoids the demos. Their Space Station trying to get dirty in the trenches, and they get burned completely. Diaz sending it up. No bumps, no problem here for Complexity.
If you think that shot started from the midline, you are mistaken. It started with Scribbles being cheeky and trying to demo someone in the back end, and he left his teammate in a 2v1 scenario where Complexity went, all right, you guys sent missiles, we're sending them back like Jorby said. Unfortunately for them, 2v1 is gonna give Complexity their shots and their goals. A 1-goal lead into the second half, potentially 2 here as Diaz goes upfield. Kofor wants to slow it down, reset, connect, not past Frosty though, even on no boost. Complexity's midline lockdown seems to be much better in this game 5.
I mean, Hercules, Space Station, they 3-0'd Ultimates.
Yep.
I mean, we just saw what Ultimates did that deleted. Rest in peace.
Fair enough.
But like, what Complexity are doing now is these tough games, these 1-goal games, I mean, NRG fans, XG2 and NRG fans know it well, is that the team can just be up 1 goal, but never look like it is just 1 goal. And Complexity have made it look like this several times against Space Station, for sure. They're not winning by multiple goals a game, but they get this goal, and then it's just so hard for Space Station to do anything on offense. Look, they go around the pitch, and what do they do around the corner there? There's no one on a follow-up. Scribbles generates the best chance there, but just a pop shot. And now you hope you can get a 50 on Frosty, and they're not. They're not even getting a touch on the ball as CRR gets the clear.
Yeah, right now, I mean, Complexity is still holding on to their same play, or similar play style to what they had with Raise Bull. And that is, once you get that lead, you become one of the nastiest teams defensively. Also, can we just talk about why this goal felt like it was truly in slow motion?
That's because CRR wave dash hit the brakes and didn't go anywhere. Thinking, oh yeah, here you go, wave dash. This ball's gonna be with pace towards the box. No, he just stops. The ball doesn't move. It was absolutely slow-mo. CRR is disgusting today. If he could play like that every day, Complexity would be right up there with NRG for competing for the top of North America. The problem is CRR doesn't play like this every game. But if he did, man, it'd be hard to shake this Complexity team off of any team you put them up against. That's the difference, I suppose, as CRR still works towards that consistency. Space Station, by the way, is 3-1 Ultimates, not 3-0, if my series score is correct, but really it doesn't change my point at all, Hercules, as this one goes in and it is multiple goals, and it's a beatdown in Game 5 here for Complexity.
3-1 Ultimates, 3-0 now on SSG. All right, it's tomato kind of thing right now. 26 seconds left. Complexity are 1 away from taking down SSG in the upper round. It won't be the end for the SSG fans. Do have another chance here. But for Complexity, I mean, everybody wondered, you know, they were always in the conversation for top 4, Jordy, right? And when all the roster move domino effects started going on in between the major and now, the Complexity one was the one that kind of had a lot of people like, can you live up to the standards of Raise Bull? And the answer is yes. Frosty has slotted in beautifully. Complexity Gaming get their first win on Champ Sunday.
It really is a great showcase on Saturday when everyone's tuned in and watching. It's like, okay, Frosty, you're a good player. Let's see what you can do, because you're stepping into some big shoes with El Toro gone. And I mean, like you said, Complexity against a Space Station team that we are not sleeping on, and they handled them businesslike. It was an excellent first showing here in the playoffs for Complexity. I'm excited to watch them as they progress through the tournament. Players all very happy about that result. No doubt it's got to feel great having a new player come in and immediately get some results that you can absolutely be proud of.